Welcome to Focus on Suppliers. I'm Leela Davidson.
And I'm Jared Davis, and I love this show because it's all about my favorite time of year. We're here in autumn.
So great.
Do you enjoy the autumn?
I love it.
My favorite outdoor activity is sipping coffee outside first thing. That's why I was very pleased to visit with Community Coffee. Community Coffee is a little bit different. They have this rich heritage, and also when they go into a new location, they support the community, hence the name Community Coffee.
That's so wonderful. Mondelez shared with us a little bit of the other side of the spectrum, which was what they're doing in e-com, and so always something to learn there.
Are you an outdoorsy person?
Just a little bit, not a whole lot.
This is the perfect time to get outdoors. Exxel Outdoors is going to stop by today as well, talking about that millennial customer, because as Gen Xers and boomers, we shop a little bit differently when we do our outdoor activities. That millennial customer has a new take, so we're going to visit with them.
Yeah, Crosman helped us understand how to connect with that next generation of outdoor enthusiasts, so it's a great show.
Focus on Suppliers starts now.
Focus on Suppliers, brought to you by 8th and Walton, where suppliers learn fast and grow, and sponsored in part by Saatchi & Saatchi X, Case Stack, and other outstanding companies.
Fall is pretty much upon us, and I am the least outdoorsy person in the world, which is why I'm so glad to be visiting with my next guest. Tori Upham is joining us again from Exxel Outdoors. Tori, it's great to see you again. Thank you for coming back on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're here right in time because, as I was telling you last time you were here, my family is very outdoorsy, and I kind of need some advice on how to prepare for the next few weeks. So tell us about the product line that Exxel Outdoors carries for the outdoors.
Sure. Exxel Outdoors is a collection of brands, and we have products that range from what we say from the parking lot to the mountaintop. So it could be something as simple as mom and dad on the sideline, or all the way peak to peak running on the ridgeline. So really nice complementary products, a number of different key brands.
So I'll be more on the sidelines, but I appreciate all the advice. I'm interested, as long as you've been doing this, what are the changes that you're seeing, not only in the products, but also in that shopper as well?
Yeah, it's been an interesting 3 or 4 years as the millennial group comes into play with children of their own now. We start to look at the different segments and pieces of the marketplace where we need to develop products for a different type of buying behavior. Millennial is one of them. There's a research group called Outdoor Industry Association does a product review and a consumer review that focuses on different segments, and one of their leading and growing categories is what they call the urban athletic or urban athlete, which has been kind of interesting.
You know, you mentioned the millennials, and of course this is the largest shopping block that we have right now. And I think some people may take this for granted, but millennial pops in your mind, you think about the person sitting on their mom and dad's couch, but many millennials well into their 30s now, and you said having children of their own. Are you seeing that market grow where they're becoming more the sideline, the parents buying your products, or are they still outdoorsy when it's sleeping bags and so forth?
A little bit of both. We've been working very hard to develop products that speak to them. Millennials, in our research and our experience, they're looking for a handful of things in a product, which is a little bit different than maybe previous generations and segments. They're looking for authenticity, they're looking for value, and they still want style. And what's interesting, how millennials are using the products, it's not your traditional campfire, dog, husband and wife, and 2 children. Camping products are being used in very different ways. Maybe it's a festival. It's a very social group, and so they're looking to come together, and camping products can sometimes be the side effect of the activity. So, hey, I'm going to a music festival. Well, I'm going to need a tent and 3 sleeping bags and 2 camp chairs. So at Exxel, we've worked at developing for 2018 a new line in our Wenzel product family called a Tribute Collection. And it's been interesting that we're hitting all those key things with our proposition in terms of authenticity. Wenzel's a brand that's gone back to 1887. Actually was making wagon covers coming as the West was developed. And then secondarily, how do you appeal to what their needs are? So authenticity, we talked about made in the USA with making some of our Wenzel sleeping bags in this tribute collection in our factory in Haleyville, Alabama. And then value and style. And we've gone back to some of those traditional styles and looked at the different patterns and vintage designs, put a new twist on them, and put them out there at a great value.
Now, moving into the fall's breaking, so this has got to be your holiday time almost. How do you prepare for that?
Well, in the retail world, working with retail partners, we start early. That's the name of the game there. But again, our value proposition to our retailer and ultimately in the end to our consumer is great value with brands like Wenzel and compelling product that fits the things that are important to those buyers. In this case, maybe the Tribute Collection and the Millennials.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit off camera about how you can prepare me for my family to get ready. I appreciate you being here, Tori. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, we're here with Steve Upham today. He is the Senior Vice President of Sales for Crosman, and we're going to talk first about Airguns and what is driving the growth in that category.
Well, the airgun category has been around for many years. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Lewis and Clark actually carried an airgun on their expedition out west. So the category has always been relevant for retailers, but the growth in the category has really come in the last 10 or 12 years, and that's come mostly because of innovation and driving consumers into what we call the adult side of airguns.
So innovation keeps you relevant. How do you guys think about that overall in the company?
Well, innovation has been key to us. We've been the leader in innovative products in the airgun category forever. Most people think about airguns as the pump gun that you grew up with as a kid. But as I mentioned, in the last 10 or 12 years, the growth has come from new technologies that have increased the performance of airguns, therefore allowing people to use them for different uses, like hunting. Most states do allow now hunting of small game and even some big game with airguns.
Great. I'm glad that you mentioned hunting because you are in a space that has a rich tradition of passing along from generation to generation. So for other suppliers that are in a similar space, how do you keep the new consumers coming in? How do you keep that generational handoff to the next generation?
It's critical, whether you're talking about camping or fishing or hunting. We rely on keeping people interested in the category and getting new users into it. And for us, getting a new user, a first-time experience with an airgun is critical. A lot of times a firearm can be intimidating and they may not have the ability to use it, but an airgun allows that person to get the opportunity to shoot and work on their accuracy without that intimidation. It's critical for us.
Yeah, I love that. We talk a lot about physical availability at retail, but I think what you're addressing is really the mental availability and, just kind of even knowing this category exists and that it is appropriate for the next generation of consumers. How do you get the word out about those innovations that are going to make your product so relevant to the next generation?
Well, obviously the internet's critical for us, whether it's through YouTube or whether it's through our own Crosman University, which is on our website. Getting consumers the ability to understand airguns and their uses and technologies now is critical. But, retail's still the most important piece for us. We rely on our retailers to really drive that message at retail. And being a consumer products category, packaging is critical. We live by the 7-second rule. When a consumer goes into a store, they're going to make their decision within 7 seconds. Our marketing team does a great job of calling out the features, benefits, and the uses of that airgun on the packaging so the consumer can make that decision right there in the aisle.
Yeah, it's definitely, I would think, a very high experience category, and so that in-store experience is going to be critical. What other recommendations do you have for suppliers that are trying to control and improve that in-store experience for shoppers?
Well, certainly, rely on your marketing team to use the internet to drive that business. Again, whether it's through blogging or messages, certainly using YouTube and your own website, and helping retailers drive their business on their own websites is critical through videos and good copy.
That's great. Well, I think it's really important and that we integrate the virtual and the physical. So it sounds like you guys are doing all the right things.
Thank you.
Don't miss our new fun podcast, the 8th and Walton Conference Call.
With summer coming to an end, the season of connections is here. As shoppers connect with friends and family, brands are looking to partner with each other so they can stand out amongst all of the seasonal clutter. Although most brands have experience with partnering, it doesn't mean they're doing it right. So here are 3 best practices. Number 1, you should bring value to the shopper by partnering with brands that make it easy for them to check multiple items off their list, all in one display. Number 2, it's best to build platforms that can translate between seasons. This way, you'll create a deeper, unique relationship with the shopper. And number 3, make it effortless for the retailer to buy in and execute to better your chances of selling in incremental merch. Multi-supplier platforms can drive business for all suppliers involved, but if they sound complex, that's probably because they are. Partnering with an agency that knows how to create and execute them ensures you'll connect with your shoppers and your retailer to deliver a win for everyone.
CASE, the leader in collaborative retail consolidation programs. We offer the supply chain expertise needed to navigate the challenges of selling products with the world's largest retailers. And we provide customers with a customizable, scalable, environmentally sustainable supply chain with the same advanced technology typically used by larger rivals. By leveling the playing field, CASE lowers distribution costs and increases overall margins. CASE, retail logistics is what we do.
What if you created a town today? What would that town stand for? What matters and what would stand out? And where would you find this new town? Bentonville, Arkansas. Visit Bentonville, a new American town.
Well, most coffees we buy are from families. To find the best coffees, we have to rely on personal relationships for them to know what our expectations are. That way we consistently get the finest coffees in the world.
Need help now with OTIF? The clock is ticking and every minute you delay is costly. So contact 8th and Walton OTIF Help at 8th and Walton/OTIF now and learn what you need to know about On Time in Full. You'll learn how to navigate the OTIF scorecard, including its nooks and crannies. You'll find root cause insights and you'll learn how to build a solid action plan. Don't wait another minute. Contact 8th and Walton today for help with On Time in Full.
It's always great when we get to sit down with a family-owned business who's doing so much to give back to the community. Very pleased to welcome to the studio Miss Jody Connican with Community Coffee. Great to have you here, Jody.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I love this topic, coffee. So I'm going to be a little selfish. What is happening in fall as far as coffee goes?
We have lots of great flavors for the fall. Obviously, it's our big season. Everyone wants a fresh cup of coffee to go into the season and enjoy the cold weather. We have our pumpkin pralines, a little bit of pumpkin, and it has a little bit of spice to it, our version of it, and a little bit of pecan as well. We also have our pecan praline. We really like praline, obviously, and so people enjoy that. It has a little bit of hints of sugar as well. And then we have a nice bold but yet bright amber sunrise that people can enjoy. So several flavors to kind of kick you off as you go into the fall season and enjoy the weather.
We all love coffee, and there's so many options on the market right now. So what sets Community Coffee apart?
We have really great relationships at Origin. We have some wonderful farming communities that really help us supply some great beans. And so they really help to set us apart and help us to enjoy kind of that, some of the new flavors and tastes of the season. We're also family owned. So we're in our 4th generation of ownership. The Siraj family is a great partner with the local communities. 4 generations have owned the company for almost 100 years now. And so it just really helps us to, think about the customer a little bit more acutely when you have that family involvement.
And on that subject of the family involvement, how does that really affect the way that you do business in your relationship with the retailers and your customers?
Absolutely. It really goes to the heart of how we give back because the family's so involved in a really day-to-day perspective and making sure that our communities are taken care of. So from education to our military to our origins and our customers, our farming communities, they really make sure that we're giving back in an important way, especially with the recent hurricanes and floods that have been affecting the Gulf South region. We've been on the ground supplying coffee and shelters, making sure that everyone has that rich cup, smooth cup of home that they can think about, to know that people care about them and want them to be safe.
For our suppliers watching, if there was one takeaway from Community Coffee and the way that you do business and the way you relate to your customer, what would you like the suppliers to learn?
I think it's about that connection, getting back into the community and giving back to those communities that are enjoying your coffee, so serving those that serve us aspect. We really do a lot with our origins and our suppliers to make sure across the supply chain that everyone's taken care of, that everybody's doing fair business, good business. And I think that's really part of the process to make sure that you're as an important part of the community.
Can you give us an example of how you've been involved in the community, some of the great projects that you have going on right now?
Absolutely. Actually, in Colombia, that's one of our origins. We buy coffee from one of those countries. They actually had 2 farming communities that didn't have quite the infrastructure to provide enough coffee for our needs. But we were able to band 2 villages together, and collaboratively they were able to supply us a great cup of coffee, great beans for our coffees. And what we did is part of the proceeds from that went back into that community to build their infrastructure, to support pigs and chickens when they needed more protein in their diet, and to build schools. And about a year ago, they actually named one of their schools after one of our founders, because it was so important to them that Siraj family ownership meant something to them in their educational system. So it's really important to give back, and you can see that systemic change really take hold.
I'm going to put you a little bit on the hot seat right now. What is your favorite community coffee product?
I actually love the seasonal flavors. As we go into January and we get into Mardi Gras, there is a Mardi Gras king cake flavor, which is my absolute favorite. It has a little bit of sweetness to it. It really reminds you of the holiday and the season. So if you're not familiar with Mardi Gras, it's a way to taste it, enjoy it, with maybe not quite some of the bad annotations that can come along with it. But I really enjoy that flavor.
Oh, fantastic. Jody, we appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you so much.
Hi, we're here with Jeff Jarrett. He's the global head of e-commerce for Mondelez, and he's here to tell us about what is happening with food and e-com. Jeff, let's launch right into Amazon. How credible is the threat of Amazon to packaged food?
You know, there's no question that Amazon's marketplace platform has given small brands and new brands an opportunity to reach consumers with a new venue. So, you know, in the past, these brands have been constrained to get shelf space in brick and mortar, and with the marketplace platform, they've now got an opportunity to get there with fewer barriers. So, what we find on these platforms is that there's a lot more competition, a lot more smaller brands, and certainly private label now is going to be a factor. I read recently where Amazon launched 2,000 new products from Whole Foods 365 line. So it's a very competitive environment, and yes, the marketplace platforms do present additional challenges for CPG manufacturers.
So you mentioned Whole Foods. We've been talking about that a lot lately. How do you think food companies should be positioning themselves against that competition in particular?
Yeah. You know, I think winning in the e-com space comes down to really focusing on the consumer, really understanding how the consumer shops online, and working very closely with retailers to make sure that you've got the right assortment, that content online is the content that consumers are looking for, certainly ratings and review, having the right assortment. The fundamentals are really the things that we're looking at, and really focus on building a strong brand presence at the digital shelf.
Yeah, I think a lot of suppliers are playing a little bit of catch up with the fundamentals, just because it seems like the space has expanded quicker than we expected it to, maybe. And when it comes to your supply chain, how have you guys had to adapt on that side of the world?
Yeah. Supply chain's a key capability for winning in this space for food manufacturers. What tends to happen online is it's very much a pull strategy rather than a push strategy. So the inventory levels build over time as you build demand for the product online. And so you've got to be a lot faster. We like to say that we build a supply chain for tanks, and what we need now are motorcycles. And so we've got to be a lot quicker. We've got to lean out the supply chain, and we've got to really look at how we can fulfill orders much quicker in terms of order delivery time.
That's very good advice. And when you think about your retailers have a lot of wonderful e-com platforms that you can choose from and work with, but what do you see suppliers, and what is Mondelez doing to create those direct relationships with your consumers?
So we're building deep relationships with all of our customers, including Walmart, of course. And so how we do that is really try to provide thought leadership and category leadership advice in the space. So our vision is to be the snack food leader online globally. And we're working with Walmart, for example, to understand how consumers are shopping in the grocery pickup space, and recently just completed a study there to look at how different consumer segments view the option of shopping online and picking up their groceries at store, and really understanding that a lot better. So we continue to look at diving into consumer insights and working closely with all of our customers to help them build their business and drive category growth, which is really our goal in working the business online.
Yeah, that pickup is one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us today. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
Suppliers, get the latest retail news 24/7 at Walmart News Now.
Join 8th and Walton and the March of Dimes on October 12th for a night of fabulous food and good company. The Signature Chefs Auction brings Northwest Arkansas's top chefs together in support of babies. For more information, go to signaturechefs.org.
CASE-STACK, the leader in collaborative retail consolidation programs. We offer the supply chain expertise needed to navigate the challenges of selling products with the world's largest retailers. And we provide customers with a customizable, scalable, environmentally sustainable supply chain with the same advanced technology typically used by larger rivals. By leveling the playing field, CASE-STACK lowers distribution costs and increases overall margins. CASE-STACK, retail logistics is what we do.
Halloween candy sales have grown every year for the past 5 years and are now $2 billion annually. Tapping into that growth requires a deep understanding of the Halloween shopper and their changing path to purchase. For more info, visit iriworldwide.com/insights.
Paul Estel, attorneys at law. With 7 offices nationwide, including Northwest Arkansas, we are a full-service business law firm assisting clients with their corporate, employment, and real estate legal needs. For more information, visit hallestel.com.
Need help now with OTIF? The clock is ticking and every minute you delay is costly. So contact 8th and Walton OTIF Help at 8th and Walton/OTIF now and learn what you need to know about On Time in Full. You'll learn how to navigate the OTIF scorecard, including its nooks and crannies. You'll find root cause insights and you'll learn how to build a solid action plan. Don't wait another minute. Contact 8th and Walton today for help with On Time in Full.
Any good leader will tell you that education never stops, especially connecting with a peer group and networking with people that understand exactly what you're going through. Nobody knows that better than my next guest. Terry Bowen is back from Vistage to tell us more about connecting here in Northwest Arkansas. Always good to see you, Terry.
Well, thank you, Jared. Appreciate the invitation.
Now, you've been here in the Northwest Arkansas area for quite a while. Why do you feel like Vistage is great for our community?
Well, every business owner, CEO, senior executive who's running a complex business is a human being. And we all have issues and opportunities to deal with. Doesn't matter whether those issues are involving spirituality, health, wellness, marriage. Everyone has those. And so what we do in Vistage is to address the issues of the members themselves. And so it helps them be better business people by becoming better human beings along the way.
I know there are a number of peer groups people can take a look at, but as far as Vistage goes, how do you measure the success of the program?
Well, Vistage is feedback rich. I am evaluated every month by every member of our group on a formal basis. All of our speakers that come to Northwest Arkansas are evaluated each time they speak. They speak to the content, they speak to the delivery, and they speak to the applicability of the topic to that member's businesses. And so far, we have had amazing results. Over half of the speakers that we've brought in from outside of Northwest Arkansas have been given perfect scores by all members on all fronts. So I also use a member survey that I've just completed, and the members are very quick to tell me exactly what they want to do more of and what they want to do less of, or what they want to start or what they want to stop. So it's very clear that the business owners, they know what they want and they're quick to tell me, and I can adjust accordingly.
You're so involved with the group. You've been with it for so long. You're the perfect person to ask this question. What do you see as the future of Vistage here in the Northwest Arkansas supplier community?
Well, that's a great question, and I think it's evolving. We've had a large number of mentors and coaches that have been really effective. People like Tony Hawk and Steve Graves, those people have been outstanding. We've had a forum with the Soderquist Center for Leadership and Ethics, and Don Soderquist and Chuck Hyde have been amazing for the community. We've had Tim McFarland down in Fayetteville with the CEO forums. There have just been all kinds of different forums and abilities or opportunities for local business people to engage in coaching and mentoring and peer activity. So I see more of it in a big way, especially as we've brought more people to the area from outside of Northwest Arkansas. So it's important for us to match people with the type of group that will serve them best.
Terry, it's always great to see you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate it.
Welcome to the Heart of Business in Northwest Arkansas. I'm your host, Don Harris. And today I'd like to introduce you to an organization known as CASA. I say CASA, you might be thinking homes or building homes. We're actually going to talk about building our young people up. And today we've got Dave Worm. Dave, you're the team leader for the General Mills team here in Northwest Arkansas. And thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you much.
Now, CASA is something that you're on the board of. Mm-hmm. I think our audience would love to hear what they're doing with our young people here in the area.
So CASA is an acronym that stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. They're court-assigned, and they act as intermediaries between the court and kids in foster care as they navigate their legal issues.
So kids coming into foster care, they're obviously coming out of an environment where something's happened that's not positive, and we want to do what's right for those kids. So the court appoints this advocate. Why is that important? Why do we need advocates through the court to help?
Well, as volunteers, they serve to fill the communication gap that goes on between the court and the case itself, as well as the kids in their foster care. So it's a very engaged volunteer, and they're overseeing the kids' needs around medical, education, making sure that they understand the situation as it relates to their court case, and ensures that the court is getting good feedback on how the kids are advancing in their foster care.
It's mentor, it's big brother, big sister, it's all those things that they can see that they can have that positive role model in their life, and they get a third-party advocate back to the judge to make sure things are on track. That sounds like you can have a lot of impact with people's lives. How many kids are we talking about in the program, and what do those age ranges look like?
There's 916 kids in the area that are involved in the court process, and the ages of the kids are really at birth up to age 20.
Wow. What's the greatest need that CASA has?
Volunteers. And so there's a gap of over 170 cases that do not have volunteer court-appointed mentors. And so a very important part of the message here is to make sure that people understand what that need is and create the opportunity for folks to see the way in which they might volunteer either their time or treasure.
Doesn't matter if you're male, doesn't matter if you're female, you got all kinds of kids that need help.
That's right.
And wow, what a difference you can make. Tell us about this fundraiser. You've got something coming up soon.
The Light of Hope. Mm-hmm. There's breakfast and lunch. It's exactly 1 hour. The cost of admission is free, but it is a fundraiser, and there will be an ask. And if you're moved at all by the possibilities here, to take 1 hour out of your day to either attend the breakfast or lunch, to hear the message, to get more acquainted with the need, will hopefully move people to become more involved with this very important cause.
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity. If you feel like this is an organization that you might want to work with, then attend the fundraiser, find out how you can help our young people in the area. For the Heart of Business in Northwest Arkansas, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Connect with us online. Follow 8th and Walton on Facebook. Need help now with OTIF? The clock is ticking, and every minute you delay is costly. So contact 8th and Walton OTIF Help at 8th and Walton/OTIF now and learn what you need to know about On Time in Full. You'll learn how to navigate the OTIF scorecard, including its nooks and crannies. You'll find root cause insights, and you'll learn how to build a solid action plan. Don't wait another minute. Contact 8th and Walton today for help with On Time in Full.
Our guests enjoy staying at the 21C Museum Hotel and hosting dinner, meetings, and product launches there.
Okay, can I tell you my favorite part about this show?
Yes.
It was getting to visit with Community Coffee. Are you a coffee drinker?
I'm a huge coffee drinker.
Now, how do you take your coffee? This is the big question.
With heavy cream.
What kind of cream do you take?
Just heavy, just plain cream.
Boo! Boring. You don't go for any of the crazy flavors like donut or lemon spruce or anything that you see over in the creamer aisle?
Sounds like a treat, but I used to when I was really young.
I was having a conversation with Jeff Clapper here at 8th and Walton, and he told me something very interesting. He was in a marketing class in college. Do you know who coffee creamers are marketed to, all these crazy flavors like caramel macchiato and so forth?
I mean, just like young women?
No.
I don't know.
They're marketed to people who don't like coffee. Think about it. When's the last time you had a good
that makes sense.
cup of black coffee?
Well, I try not to.
See, if you don't like coffee and it's bitter, this is why you spruce it up.
Okay, so it's dessert.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.